Today we're going to be working on, or we're going to be starting a project that I have been wanting to do for quite a number of years now. Johnson 2 horsepower outboard. It hasn't ran now in, I'd say, probably 12 years. I got bolts, I got rust. You can see right inside of there. It's plugged, solid. All right, so I got the carburetor all cleaned up. So this thing is really throwing me for a loop. I mean, that's what it does. That's what it did a long time ago, it seems to me. And that's why I put it away. And that is why I ordered the coil, condenser, and the points. Even though I have spark when I'm pulling it, it sure sounds like the way it's revving up and then it's like as if somebody's shutting off a switch. I suspect it's electrical, and it seems to me that at moments when I'm cranking it and I have the spark plug out, it does appear that I don't have very strong spark. The carburetor has been apart 20 times. I've replaced everything in the carburetor, so I really don't think it's a fuel issue. Again, maybe something in the carburetor is plugged where I couldn't get to it, even though I took all the little plugs out and cleaned it out. So because the coil is all cracked, as you saw in another video, it's all split on the top, but let's give that a shot and see. Alright, so that's the puller set I just used to get the flywheel off. And there's our coil. So if you look at the coil, the casing is all cracked. I still think it's a spark issue. I really don't know, guys. I can get it to idle, but it's smoking and super rich. Even tried leaning out my fuel a bit, maybe thought I had too much oil in the fuel. So here's our replacement OEM coil. So we're going to replace this. And then I also have an aftermarket set of points because the store said couldn't get them anymore. So a Sierra brand, there's the part number right there. Putting those in, as well as the condenser. Actually, these are right here. Also brand new, original OEM as well. And that goes there. There's also a retainer here that holds the coil wire down. So you can see there's a pin. The keyway stuck in there pretty good. All right, change of plans. We're going to leave that keyway in there. We're just going to try and pull this piece up. One thing to mention with the coils, we're just going to make sure that the coils right here, the flat surface of the coil here, is even with this flat surface, mating surface right here. Otherwise your flywheel is going to hit, and that gives you your spacing between the front of the coil and the back. And the same as on this side right here. Make sure that's nice and flush. So we have our points adjusted to anywhere from 0.016 to 0.020. And to do that, I just used a piece of paper and a micrometer. I don't have a points file, unfortunately. And I just made sure that when my lobe was on the top dead center and the points were open, that was the spacing. Everything else seems okay. Just going to make sure this wire doesn't rub on the eccentric. That's that through here actually. So just going to make sure that stays back there so it doesn't get damaged. And we're going to make sure this is pushed down so it doesn't hook the top of the flywheel. Everything's nice and tight. So I think we're good. The flywheel is keywayed. The keyway is still there. Put the flywheel on like so. And then we'll just test it, make sure it turns freely. It does turn freely, that's good. And next we're going to be putting this back together. And we're going to do the nut here. And I'm going to torque the flywheel to about 24 foot-pounds, 23 foot-pounds, in and around there. But first I just want to see if I have spark. Going to ground this out somewhere. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but you guys see that? We have spark. So that's a good thing. Well guys, looks like we had some success. Second pull, the sucker started right up, idled, so now I'm anxious to get it into the water bucket and test it. I don't have it in the water bucket now. Some of you are probably saying, you know, you just destroyed the impeller, you're not running in the water, you can't run them, you're going to destroy the actual water pump. But I do have on my bench a brand new water pump, so I wasn't too concerned about running it for a few minutes without it. And we're going to be installing this next now that I know it runs. I'm going to do a barrel test, and if that works, I'll do another video on how to replace the impeller. But super pumped. Took about a month, I guess, to gather all the parts and disassembly and back together and disassemble it. And this hasn't run since 2006. So I'm really excited. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like what you see here. And remember that if I can do it, anybody can do it.